Guys, Arsenal have just drawn 2-2 with Crystal Palace in the Premier League. And yeah, we've got some stuff to talk about. Following off the back of a 4-0 win against Ipswich on the weekend, Arsenal had Crystal Palace, a game that was, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean that much in terms of the Premier League. Crystal Palace are safe. They've established themselves, had a good recovery in second half of the season. Arsenal have obviously, in my opinion, let a key opportunity slip from them in terms of not winning the Premier League. Again, from what we said in the beginning of the season, if Man City didn't win it, it had to be Arsenal. It wasn't. Liverpool have done the business. They've been the most consistent team in the Premier League and they deserve to be champions, which they will be by their next game. And that's a result of Arsenal drawing way too many games, the second most in the league, which to me is just it's not good enough. And there's a multitude of reasons why Arsenal are being there, some which are well and truly in their control, others may or may not have been. However, the result is the same. Arsenal haven't taken advantage of an opportunity that has presented itself when, by all accounts, coming into the season, they should have, and they didn't. And it's very, very disappointing if we're being honest with you. From my perspective, again, all of the Arsenal fans are probably looking towards the semi-finals from the Champions League. Rightfully, they should be. And I think we've learned a couple of important lessons from the first games which have actually taken place after Arsenal have qualified into the semi-final. Firstly, we know we're not going to have Thomas Partey operating with Leo Trossard in the striker position, with Moreno in the midfield, which will probably be what Arsenal go with. I think is the best alternative. Leo has been on form. He is normally a big game player, if I'm being honest with you, someone that you can rely on, and his technical ability can really disturb defenders, especially when he's playing in the center of the pitch. You can also lose a bit of your identity, a little bit of the physicality, the hold up play. But he's technically very proficient. He can play that false nine position to a high enough level where we've seen him play there previously with other players around him, Kai Havertz, for example. And I think that's the way Arsenal should be going. That's the way they will be going. Moreno will go back and drop into the midfield. Leo Trossard will play in that striking position. Probably there might be a little bit of interchange as well, which we've seen in the past. So again, I think we've learned some key things during those games, and I think they're good things to know. And getting Leo up to speed in that position, getting the team used to playing with him, are all good things. And it worked really well in the attack today, and it worked really well in the attack against Ipswich as well. However, my problem with Arsenal at the moment, and it's synonymous with the two goals that we conceded, is, and I'm happy that we've had these games, and there's been a lot of questions in terms of who should Mikel Arteta be playing, who shouldn't he be playing. Rice played 90 minutes today. I don't think that's probably the wisest decision. Even if you get him off after 70, there's something saved there. He plays a lot of minutes. I know he's got an engine like no other, but still, you want to be responsible with your players' minutes. And there has to be a question if Arteta has been responsible with not only Rice's minutes, but with Ethan Nwaniere's minutes. I mean, you played Raheem Sterling 70 plus minutes. We know that he doesn't have a future with Arsenal. Why are we continuously pouring minutes into him when we could be pouring them into Ethan Nwaneri, someone that has a future in the team, someone who I think has a lot of ability? And again, the wing might not be his preferred position or where we see his future being, but get him on the pitch. And if you want him to play in his preferred position, then again, I'm increasingly becoming confident of the idea of Wanyeri coming in and establishing himself within that midfield sooner rather than later. I think the quality is there for all to see. He's a player who makes things happen. I don't know if he's going to be the 10 that Arsenal need, but I'm not sure if Odegaard is the 10 that Arsenal need. I still have questions about it. His performances this season have been less than desirable. And as a captain, you really do expect the most of the most, especially if he's your chief creator and your captain. So questions to be asked about how Mikel Arteta is actually using his squad and if he's using them to the fullest of his ability. Again, he is the man who has taken Arsenal to the Champions League semi-final, but that again does not make you exempt from criticism or questions, because again, we've seen things that are less than desirable at Arsenal and they deserve to be questioned, especially when you end up second with the threat of potentially finishing third if you don't, close out the Premier League season correctly, when this should be your season. So again, I understand the red cards, I understand the injuries, all of those things. The bottom result is you didn't win the Premier League when you ideally should have, and some of those factors sit with you. You cannot tell me that you've drawn 13 games this year, second most behind Everton, and everyone should just be like, yeah, you know, injuries, red cards. No, there's bigger foundational problems, and bigger foundational problems that were identified in the summer. So again, this isn't a video to be, you know, all angry about the draw, because I don't think majority of Arsenal fans are that invested in the rest of the Premier League season. But what I am going to highlight is those mistakes that we saw from David Raya, those mistakes that we saw from Saliba, those mistakes that we saw from Martin Odegaard. Get them out of your system right now. Get them out of your system with these Premier League games, no problem. But when it comes to that semi-final, when it comes to PSG, you better get ready. You better get ready. And that's just being honest with you, because Arsenal don't get to the Champions League final, and if I'm being honest with you, if Arsenal don't win the Champions League, this season has been a bust. It's been an absolute bust. It's been very, very demoralizing. And so this Champions League run is actually what has sparked Arsenal fans' energy. And so you can't go out in the semi-finals if you're an Arsenal player, and for an Arsenal fan, you've got to get to that final, and you've got to go there and potentially win it for this season to be looked on with any sort of positive light. And I don't think it's currently there. So Arsenal did draw 2-2. Key moments from the game I'll cover very quickly. Kivior, header in the first 3 minutes, brilliant header from him. He's played so well. I've spoken about me being an advocate for him. He does have his deficiencies, do not get me wrong, but he's bedded in well. He's taken that left centre back position and has done a really good job, if I'm being honest with you. We didn't lost our lead 1-1, a brilliant volley by Eze, and again shows his quality. He has had a couple of rough weeks with some missed penalties and some missed chances, but he is a quality player, and he delivered for Crystal Palace. Arsenal got themselves back in the lead. Leo Trossard in that false nine position, working very, very well with the rest of the team and getting his goal. And again, that adds to his confidence. 2 on the weekend, 1 today, 3 during this period, and very, very happy with how Leo has performed. And he may have been angry for not starting, you know, some other games that Arsenal have played in this run, but he has always showed up and delivered, especially this season. It's not only been the goals and assists, it's been, you know, been more consistent than he has, especially last season, where you would get the goals and assists, but you wouldn't get the performances. I think you're seeing a much more balanced performance at this moment in time. Arsenal then did lose their lead, and once again, this time a mistake between Saliba and Odegaard. As soon as Saliba gets the ball, he passes it to Odegaard. They exchange the pass once again. In my opinion, as soon as Saliba got that and he saw that 2 players were coming towards him and Odegaard, just put the ball away. I don't understand why you wouldn't adjust to the risk that has been presented to you. I think there's a style of play, and then there's just not thinking while you're playing and not using your common sense. And I think Arsenal have been in that mode. They have their routine. They know how they want to play. But when the pressure comes, you need to readjust. You need to boot the ball away, establish your shape once again, whatever it may mean. But I think, again, Arsenal didn't do a good job of that, and it's not the first time. We saw it against Real Madrid. You open the door like that to a great attacking team. When you're not a great attacking team, it can lead to a lot of problems. But again, Arsenal draw 2-2, another draw to add to our long collection. It will mean that Liverpool should be crowned by their next game. Again, congratulations to them. But Arsenal needs to look at themselves, give themselves a long, hard look, and see what they need to do in the next season to win the Premier League. Because you win the Champions League, for example, and that's, again, a big stretch, because you're coming up against some of the most elite teams in Europe. But by chance you win it, the next thing will be the Premier League. That consistency for 38 games. Can they establish themselves? Can they do it? We're going to see. Guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.